I would like now, as always, to recognize some of the ways that the members of the Calgary Police Service have delivered on the policing priorities of Calgarians. To start, I want to congratulate the service on once again being recognized as one of Alberta's top 80 employers. As we continue to have a big need for new recruits, this recognition no doubt will help people considering a career in policing to look more closely at Calgary. On the operational front, contentious protests over the war in Gaza that started in our city in November continued to challenge the service into December. Frontline members had to deal with the volatile and unpredictable situations and still managed to keep the peace. I want to thank the officers of the Public Safety Unit for continually showing up to prevent conflicts between groups and to minimize as much as possible the disruption to the community. The service also worked incredibly hard to engage the involved communities to try to de-escalate the protests and facilitate everyone's right to protest without interfering in the rights of others. There was a noticeable effort to communicate with the community, which was very much appreciated. Officers also had some big successes addressing crime in public spaces. An undercover operation along the C train took multiple weapons off the street and resulted in 27 people being charged with 212 drug trafficking offenses. True to the service's value of compassion, law enforcement action was immediately followed by a second phase of the operation that brought outreach teams into the stations to support people struggling with addiction. The service continued this balance of compassion and enforcement with encampments in our city. Frontline officers have been working closely with the partners to ensure that criminal activity in encampments is swiftly addressed and that encampments are removed, while still giving people living in the camps the supports and dignity they deserve. It's not an easy task to balance compassion and rooting out dangerous criminals. I want to thank all the officers who have struck this balance so professionally through this winter. Successes have also been seen around gun violence in our city. The service has been strongly focused on addressing gun crime, and those efforts now appear to be paying off. Calgary saw 21% fewer shootings in 2023 than in the year prior, and for the first time in 6 years, saw a decrease in the presence of guns being used to commit other crimes. While I know investigators and frontline members will continue to keep the pressure up on those who use guns for crime, it's nice to see some good news on this front. I also want to thank the task force that investigated the September riot in Falconridge. Immediately after the incident, many people believed there would be little or no accountability for those involved. Through your professionalism, skill, and determination, you proved them wrong. In total, 28 people are now facing 63 charges for the violence that occurred. From the officers that responded to the chaos on that day, to the investigators that relentlessly worked to collect evidence and lay charges, thank you for showing that violent and lawless protests are not tolerated in Calgary. Finally, the service once again showed innovation and a willingness to collaborate with the community as it rolled out a community engagement vehicle and the Bridgeland Riverside Engagement Link. These two new approaches to community engagement will allow officers to connect with more people, businesses, and community groups to make sure that policing in Calgary is responsible to Calgarians. While I know these highlights only scratch the surface of all the great work done by members of the Calgary Police Service, I want to thank everyone who is involved in each of them. Calgarians notice, we notice, and value and appreciate all your great work. Thank you.